Welcome to blackfilm.com Rewind with Ellen. I'm your host, Ellen Wanjiro, and I'm joined by my co-host, Ro Carter, aka Rick James.
Unity.
I love that you pulled that together in like 2.8 seconds. Did you just kind of like have the braid wig just sitting somewhere posted up, or like?
No, I've actually been this character before.
You
like big red boots. I'll send it to you later. Yeah, yeah.
I'd love to see that. And then you got the green. What is that?
The person who loaned it to me, she calls Beyonce.
Okay.
So
I love that it's I love the dark green. That's one of my favorite hunter green colors. Okay. I dig it. I just threw on some door knockers from an old Halloween costume from last year. I was a 90s hip hop fly girl. I don't have the outfit, but I found this orange spiderweb t-shirt. So the only thing I could connect it with is Black Widow spider. And after they mate with their partners, they kill them. They eat their prey. So
why you?
I connected with.
Listen, we're trying to find you somebody every week. You say something that like, I don't know.
I'm obsessed with Black Widow spiders. I don't know why. Anyway, how are you? Are you good? Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday.
You had a good week?
Did I have a good week? What's that? Oh, what happened?
You playing your braid back.
Yeah. You don't want to get right on you, you know.
Right.
Yeah, I did. I had a great week. End of the month. Let's go.
That's right. It's payday tomorrow. It's a good week so far. I had a good week too. I just came back from visiting my mom. I was down in North Carolina for about 2 weeks.
Oh, nice.
It felt like a month, but it was good. I appreciate the change of scenery. So I had a good time with the family.
How's the weather?
Oh my God, it was beautiful. I packed thinking it was going to be cold. I had sweatshirts, sweaters, sweatpants. It was 80 degrees the entire time I was there.
It's freezing up there. Freezing.
I was hot, literally and figuratively hot.
Too hot.
Yeah. And even today, even with the rainy weather, almost hurricane weather down there, it was 80 degrees. So I don't know what's going on in North Carolina, but I like it. I like it a lot. So let's get this party started.
Do it.
We are this week, Tuesday, Zoom Where It Happens Live aired its final episode, final table read, shall I say. And it was one of our favorite 90s TV sitcoms, A Different World. So when I first heard that it was going to be A Different World, I got excited because I was so addicted to that sitcom. I'm sure you were, and a lot of people were. And the name of the episode was what? Good Help is Hard to Find, right?
Hard to Fire.
I thought it was Find. Oh,
no,
okay.
Hard to Fire. Hard to Fire.
Gotcha. And
he tries to fire Whitley at the end, you know.
Yeah, and this was from season 4, episode 7 of A Different World back in the 90s. And the summary was Dwayne couldn't stop thinking about Whitley, which put a strain on his relationship with Keanu. So Ron, his bestie, hires Whitley as a housekeeper, which was a crazy idea, hoping it would drive Keanu crazy and away. And I remember that episode. It was a pretty good episode. And who played Dwayne's mom?
Patti LaBelle.
And she stole the show, didn't she? Because you and I watched the actual episode.
Yeah, I thought I had to after that just to give that episode justice, because that was like a great part of my childhood growing up, was watching A Different World. So I was like, you know what? Let me remind myself of how everything was. So shout out, if I can give one shout out right quick, Dawn Lewis, who was originally Jaleesa, she played Patti LaBelle's character, and she did it justice. That's all I'm going to say about that.
She was the best character on there, as she should be. It was her show, she was a part of that show, so that wasn't surprising. The person that, first of all, let's give a quick rundown of who was in the party, right? So Zoom, it was directed by Debbie Allen. hosted and narrated by Yara Shahidi. Tevin Campbell covered the original theme song, which I thought was so dope. He did a really good job. And the original was performed by Aretha Franklin. Storm Reed was Freddie and Jaleesa. Oswin Benjamin played Dwayne Wayne, and Kelly McCreary was Whitley. And Zosha Rockmore was Keanu. They had it labeled incorrectly, I think. They said Tessa Thompson played Keanu.
Yeah, I thought so. No, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So she was part of it, but I think she did a little bit of narrating in the beginning. Not narrating, but she spoke a little bit in the beginning and in the end, but she wasn't part of
it, yeah.
Characters, right?
I was hoping she would be, but they didn't use it.
Right. Maybe they had her on at the, to play Keanu, and then somehow Zosha Rockmore, anyway. And then the least person I would have expected to be a part of this, Little Yachty played Ron, Dwayne Wayne's best friend. So when I first saw Little Yachty's name, I was like, wait, what's happening? Why? Not the grown man with the 13-year-old girl beads. As you rock a wig with beads. I'm so sorry. But to me, I think he did the best. Like, he did his thing. I was pleasantly surprised. What'd you think?
Yeah. So at first I was like, "Oh God, Little Yachty." Sorry. Well, I'm just from a different era, different cloth.
Right.
But he actually did a good job. My favorite was the young man who played Dwayne Wayne.
Oswin.
Yeah. I could see him like really taking off in other directions. He's really good energy. It's tough with these, right? So I'm thinking of watching this. This is like the third or fourth one we've watched, and the third one we've talked about.
Yeah.
And so I would love if they brought this back, but actually had a studio to actually do everything in, and then really see what we can do, with an episode. Because it's tough, I got to give a lot of these actors even Little Yachty credit. You get a script probably like the week of, and you just try to read through it. Rehearse and try to remember your lines, but then also the cause that's at the end as well. So that's a bigger issue than the show. So just trying to keep that all in your head and say the right thing so you don't come off as like, oh God,
Yeah, I could imagine it's difficult doing a live table read. And then like you said, I don't know how much in advance they get the script and how much time they get to rehearse. But I do appreciate the fact that we've gotten to revisit sitcoms. Actually, all 6 of them, because it's only been 6 episodes, have been some of my favorite sitcoms ever. So that was cool. There were times where it was a little bit awkward, and there were times like I enjoyed it. I think for this to be the last one, it did okay. It was okay.
Yeah, I mean, you also learn from the other episodes of people doing it before. So again, if this, sometimes technology doesn't work on your side. So if that's not working at the same speed you are, it's like,
Right. Because for Little Yachty, he had some complications with his internet. So he froze a couple of times. So that was a little weird. But I think his snapback was smooth.
Yep. Good delivery. So I give him that. Hey, maybe you never know.
Right. I could see him in a cameo in a show or in a film. I could see him pulling that off well. So now I have a little bit more respect.
You bought a T-shirt?
For him, huh?
Did you buy would you buy a T-shirt?
Probably not.
Would you go to the concert for free?
Probably not. What I would do is just think more positive thoughts about him. How about that?
Ooh, all right.
Yeah. Or just like give him a chance other than just, judging him off of his aesthetic, which is horrible, but we're human, we do it. And that's about it for me.
So 2 thumbs down. All right.
You got to start somewhere. So like I said, I'm pleasantly surprised. So I can give him a little bit of credit. So like I said, they Zoom Where It Happens Live has come together for the past 6 weeks for the purpose of voting. Like each episode has a different cause attached to it. So it's not just been entertainment, but it's been resourceful. It's been, a learning experience. And speaking of voting, this is a great segue into our next segment. First of all, have you voted yet?
No, I'm voting next week. on Staten Island.
Okay, you're going on the 3rd.
Yes. I'm going to the Rock. We called the Rock or Shaolin.
Okay,
Yes, I will be on the Rock. I'll say
nice.
what's up to my mom and my aunt. Give them some. Well, I'll give them distant hugs,
Okay,
and then yeah, vote and then go back to work.
yeah, pretty much. I'm gonna go vote tomorrow.
Oh, nice.
There's a library about half a mile down from me, so I'm just gonna mosey on down and pray to God that the line isn't ridiculous, and if it is, so be it.
Yeah, I've heard interesting stories, like 2-hour waits, 3-hour waits. So, I mean, the weather's supposed to be a little bit better tomorrow and Saturday. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah, so on my, I took an Uber when I left my mom's house in North Carolina. I took an Uber to the airport, and my Uber driver was an interesting fellow, older white man, very pleasant. And so the minute he found out that I was flying into DC, he started to pitch Trump to me, right? It wasn't even a question. Like he didn't even like take the time to just kind of ease me into it. He was just like, "Oh, DC, got it. Okay." So a couple of weeks ago, I had a Cuban woman in my car, and I pitched, Trump to her, and she was pissed. I was like, "All right, so let me hear your pitch. What's your pitch?" Oh, and he went in for 20 minutes, and I listened and I asked questions, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is the closest I've ever been to a Trump supporter. This is what this is what it feels like." And he was so passionate about his support for Trump and all that Trump has done. And then he proceeded to tell me what Trump has done for my people. The implication being, you too should support him, because he's, created this, he's done that. And I was just like, wow. I didn't even know what to say, but I do appreciate the fact that I just sat and listened, and that gave me a little bit of perspective about, the people that are supporting Trump. And so I asked him, do you think he's going to win? And he didn't even take a half a second. He's like, "Oh, absolutely. He's absolutely going to win." And that was so scary because I can't give that same like confident. I know for a fact Joe Biden is going to win, and that's scary. So I didn't even know what to make of that, and why I had to experience that, but I did. But I'm now even more gung ho to go and vote, more so than.
So you're not voting for Trump?
No, I'm not switching sides. I think I'm
okay. All right.
But how gangster would it be if I was like, yeah, you know what? I think I'm just gonna go ahead and vote for Trump. Would you still be my friend?
100%. I've lost three friends during the pandemic. Not to the pandemic, but due to Trump's rhetoric. I've actually purchased what's it called? White. What's the name of the book? Anyway, I purchased a bunch of books for friends.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. White Privilege. I purchased the book White Privilege.
Okay.
For 3 of my friends. When I tell you the questions people are asking me, and here's the burden, right, of being a black man sometimes, being a black person, but also being a black man and black woman. But from my own personal experience growing up in Staten Island, it's weird because they love Wu-Tang. Wu-Tang, if you don't know, Wu-Tang is all black. Yep. They love them some Wu-Tang, ride or die. Yo, Wu's forever, Wu's forever. As soon as we talk about some others, what about the Black Lives Matter? Oh man, that's too much.
That's where I draw the line.
Yeah, and I'm like, wait, what? So it's very interesting to have conversations. I applaud you for being able to have a conversation without losing your mind, because it took me everything in my body to get to that point. Now I can have these conversations, but I also I think I have feelers, right? And again, it's election next week, so I don't care anymore. But I had feeler questions to see where are you in your head space of do you even understand what's going on? So the first question I might ask is, do you make $400,000? No. Okay, I'm done talking.
Next.
Right. You know what I'm saying? It was like one of the his tax plan versus Joe Biden's tax plan. I was like, again, do you make $400,000? Because if you do, I don't know where you've been hiding it, because I've hung out with you and I paid a lot of the times we went out. So I don't get it. So those are the questions you have to ask, things that they don't really get sometimes, where they're kind of their own interests they're shooting down. And I think that's the biggest problem with everybody. And then you have black folks, our own people, that just like sometimes like, well, they're not the Democratic Party has never been in our best interest. I'm like, okay, all right. Or Obama didn't do everything he could have done for us. I was like, yeah, but let me ask you something. Have you ever been the first black man to do anything or the first black woman to do anything? If you have been in the workplace, you know your agenda is got to stay by the wayside just for a little. You got to build the trust first. After you build the trust, then you start, hey, when are people going to start listening to my ideas? Then when you get a group to listen to your ideas, then and only then can you start pushing your agenda and plan. But again, if everything's stacked against you, what can you do? And again, I'm not trying to excuse anybody. Could Obama have been a better president? 100%. But again, I only know from talking to people and my personal experiences, when you are the first, you have to tread very lightly. Otherwise, you know, just think about it this way. If Obama did anything that Trump did right now, just 10%, I guarantee you he'd walk out the front of the White House with a dangling piece of rope saying, all right, but you've had too much time.
Of course.
And that may be too aggressive for the show, but anyway, that's just my opinion.
No, that's a valid point. That's a valid point. And so tomorrow, I can't wait because former President Barack Obama is joining LeBron James for a special edition of HBO's The Shop.
Unity.
Right? LeBron James and Maverick Carter. So I can't wait because I'm a huge fan of that show, that series, The Shop. And of course, you know, they'll obviously be talking politics, but for those that don't know, it's a pretty popular series and it offers unfiltered conversation and debate with, you know, some of the biggest names in sports and culture, politics, music, and entertainment. I wish I had some hair to flick back. And so again, it premieres tomorrow, October 30th at 9 p.m. And so if you don't have HBO, the episode is available for free viewing for non-HBO subscribers from Saturday, October 31st at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time through Saturday, November 28th at HBO.com, YouTube, HBO, and all that good stuff. It's been really fun to see Obama kind of come out. And talk again and be present again and offer, you know, presidential words, things that, you know, we actually want and need to hear. And he's been having fun with it. He's been quiet for 4 years because, you know, that's just kind of what you have to do. So now
really 8 years. I mean, well, and then 12 because he couldn't say anything, you know. Yeah.
Right, but you get my point. So it's been dope to see him really speak his mind and echo all our sentiments, right? Just to like further kind of prove like, okay, we're not tripping. Like other presidents are looking at this current president and thinking, WTF, this man has got to go. I just hope that people actually go out and vote, because that's the only way we're going to be able to evoke some sort of change. But I don't know. I hate to say this, but I don't feel 1,000% confident. I don't. And one of the things this guy, the Uber driver, one of the points he brought up was the large rally numbers, right? I don't know if that really matters, if that just translates to, the popular vote, which doesn't really matter. The electoral vote is what matters. But again, just hearing him just go off I was just like, oh my God, how many thousands of other people or millions of other people feel this way? Are they going to vote for Trump?
Don't be confused by passion. And so the Democratic candidate, there's not a lot of passion, right, behind him. And what you feel in Trump fans are passionate. They're very passionate. And so what happens when you hear somebody who's just emphatic and passionate about a candidate or something, it's like, wow, that energy just comes at you in waves, just like, holy cow. I saw Borat, I keep on saying Borat this weekend, and I was scared too. I was like, oh, I keep on forgetting because I live in New Jersey and I'm from New York and I live in California that there's a whole middle section of the country that just believes conspiracy theories and all this other stuff. So I'm like, holy cow, yeah, he might actually win this again. But the only thing that saves me is that there was a lot of early voting. So that's huge. And then you have a lot of young kids as well.
Yeah.
A lot of them that had to deal with school shootings. And so, we're underestimating the young youth. Kids of color, it's been interesting. My own nephew and my cousin, talking to them, one's 18, the other one's 27. And so the one who was 27, he's from Atlanta, and he was like, bro, it's the worst of two evils. I was like, I hear you. I hear you, but it's like, I know I'm still gonna vote, but I'm just, just telling you my opinion. I'm like, man, don't let me choke you today. So it's just, but again, I can't force anybody, to vote where my passions are, but at least vote. And he was like, that's one thing I will vote no matter what. But please, I was like, but please just don't want to be one of those people that just like puts any name there, like make it count. And so that's what I mean by that. So you'll have some people like, even you'll listen to Republicans talking right now that don't agree with Trump, but they're like, well, I'm not going to vote for Biden. And I'm like, what the hell's the point of you voting? Well, I want my vote to count. I was like, but it doesn't. So
and
again,
that's what.
You can go on and on about this all day. But I'm just looking forward to not caring as much about the presidency every single day.
Yeah.
And worrying about having a nice weekend. I'll throw my phone in the room and then picking up my phone and be like, wait, what?
Right. Something else happened. Right.
I'm not saying the Democrats will end COVID, but at least they will acknowledge that it is a problem. And so that's my biggest thing. I'm surprised you didn't bring that up tonight in the cab. Like, oh, wait. So you're not saying COVID is a problem? And you have a guy who had COVID and his whole cabinet had COVID twice. It's coming back around again. And we're like, oh, let's let it happen and see what happens. I'm like, come on, man.
Yeah, I didn't want to debate him. I just wanted to, you know what I mean? Because the minute I would have started being as passionate, it would have went left, and then my Uber rating would have went down. So,
what'd you give? Here's a big question. We can move on. What did you give him as a rating after he got?
I gave him a 4.
Really?
He was on time. He put my bags in the car. He drove well. I was running a little late, so he put the pedal to the metal. He was like missed. Like this was probably a man in his 60s. Very, very sweet older white man. Told me his life story. Like we got to know each other really well in that ride. And so I'm not going to give him a 2 because he's a Trump supporter. And so that's an interesting argument because I've gotten into this conversation with a friend of mine who will not be friends with somebody will not be friends with someone that's a Trump supporter, even if they've had a long-standing friendship. So I'm like, you can't compartmentalize who she supports versus who you know her to be. And so we kind of butt heads in trying to understand. Of course, I'm on the side of, but we know her. Like, she's awesome. But she voted for Trump back in 2016. And so to him, he's like, but then what does that say about her as a human being?
You got to let 2016 go. I let anybody who voted for Trump in 2016, I give you a pass. I've given everybody a pass every year. He says something crazy. Again, at the last debate, they asked him, he's like, I'm the least racist person in the room. And I said, and I look around, I'm like, the answer should be, I am not racist. Ding, ding, ding.
I'm just a little bit racist.
Just a little bit. And then, but then again, I'm seeing people at home and like in my mind, envisioning them saying like, well, I'm a little racist as well. So he's not the biggest racist, but he's a little racist. We all a little racist. Like I felt like doing a Chris Rock bit. We all a little racist. Right. So I was like, yeah, but you don't say that when you're the president of the free world. So it's like
proud on TV
in front of the whole entire world. I was like, and again, no one's like, really? We're gonna talk about this. And again, I watch CNN. I even watch Fox every now and then just to see what crazy stuff's going on there. And then MSNBC. Everybody's just watching BBC. That's probably the safest thing. The Turks. They're probably the safest thing. You get real information. But anyway, no one actually brought up the fact that like all he had to say was, I am not racist. And this question's been asked him so many times. And it always says the least person in the room. So that means everybody else in his cabinet is racist as well.
Right.
He's the least, right? That's
the least in my crew. I am the least.
Yeah. All this, all these guys are rapists. I'm the least rapiest guy in the room. I'm the least. Least rapiest
of the U.S. of A. But here we are. Anyway, so yeah, if you haven't voted already, please go out and vote and actually know who you're voting for. Don't just click numbers or fill in circles.
Can I add one more thing?
Yeah.
Key thing, when you go to vote.com, look for all the things that you're voting for on the ballot. Those are huge. Before, when I voted, I didn't know. I just, all right, this guy. And then I was like, okay, well, I'll just look on the ticket and I'll just vote what I think. I heard his name once. But knowing who's on the ballot, what you're voting for your rights in your states is huge.
Yeah.
So you can look that up, and it literally you can get a printout of your state and see exactly all down the ballot what you're voting on and the history of that, or the history of that person, which is huge. But I'm shocked more people aren't talking about that as well.
Right.
I think that's the next conversation we have to really change voting and really change, our states individually by voting. That's the way to really down the ballot. What exactly are my best interests here? So
absolutely, because those are the people affecting changes in your day-to-day life.
Exactly.
And that shit matters a lot. Okay, so for our next segment, we're going to do something a little different. Instead of doing a review or a recap, which we'll start next week, we kind of want to take the time and share a little bit about who we are, what we do creatively out of every week on Thursday, and just kind of open up about, what we got going on and, again, who we are. So I'm going to give this to the gentleman first because I'm a lady. I know that you host a show on Instagram. Can you talk to us about that? And what is it called? And how did you get into it? And
okay, so I have a show. Thank you for the plug time. It's called After Hours with Ro.
Okay.
It's a little late night, not too late night.
Okay.
But it's late night on the East Coast. I have a lot of West Coast friends. I used to live out in LA, so I wanted to give a time where they could still come in like it's happy hour for them, but it's a little late for us here.
Nice.
And so during COVID, I was inspired to be like, what am I doing all day in my life? I work in the fitness industry as the main gig.
Right.
And I was like, I need some inspiration. So I was reading, I was doing runs and stuff like that, but I was like, I need something else, like an outlet to talk to people. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, oh, house party was great, catching up with people. But then I was like, no, I wanna put my voice out there. So I started Instagram. There's 3 segues of the show. So I started Rose with Roger.
Okay.
I love Rose. That rhymes as well. So I thought that I could do rosé tasting, and then I'd have some grapes and some cheeses and some meats, and then I would and taste it. And so I really do. On a side note, I admire what you do and your craft, and I aspire to be like you at one point in my life, or better. That's
hey,
no,
for the stars.
There you go. But me saying that was, we're going live, right? So this is live as well.
Yeah.
So I had to learn how to do live versus, everything's pre-recorded and thrown up on YouTube. So I'm watching all these people that are doing tastings of stuff, and I'm like, oh, they got music in the background and everything. And I'm like, so then I do mine, and I'm like, I literally friends watching it. I got 50 people the first time I started the show, and they're like, bro, you're killing me. It's like, there's no music, and I'm just biting the grape, this goes good with this rosé right here. This is from the southern regions of France. This is amazing. This is the best. This is good wine. You should have this with your significant other. And then, okay, moving on to the next one.
Oh, dear.
It was awful. And I was like, okay, learn from that experience. Did 2 episodes. You'll never find them everywhere. They've been deleted.
Sure.
They're not even in the cloud. They were so bad. They were so bad they weren't even in the cloud. Okay. So then I said, you know what? I like to have a cocktail every now and then. Maybe I'll do a happy hour. So I did happy hour with Ro. It was so popular. I had someone, I don't know, it's going to come reverse, but someone actually made me one of these.
Oh, nice.
Happy hour. Yeah. So I Yeah, I had. She was great, by the way. She was a lot of woodwork. If you wanted. But I had happy hour with Ro. Oh, my hair is amazing. I had happy hour with Ro, and that was interesting because again, I have West Coast and East Coast friends, but I'm doing the show at 5:36.
Yeah.
Now this is all during COVID, so I did have a following because no one else was doing anything at 5:36. No one was working. But then my West Coast people like, bro, it's 2:30 here. I can't. I don't want to start drinking, even though I've been drinking. I don't want to start drinking at 2:30, 3:30. So I was like, okay, let's go to after hours. And the after hours gave everybody a little time to like settle in after a day. Things started slowly getting back to normal wherever you lived. And then I started doing little skits, kind of like an SNL, or try to make it like an SNL thing. But I'd have some friends do some skits, and then I do an interview like once a month. And then I really got passionate about interviews and only interviewing people that sort of inspired me or been mentors to me, or I always wondered, like, how the hell did you do that from that? And so learning, and I'm sure you'll hit on this as well, when you meet people from all different walks of life and they're going to all these things, there's a hustle in every walk of life or whatever career choice you choose. But sometimes it's just like, wait, you didn't know at all how to do this at all, and you just went after what you thought you wanted to do. And I'm like, wait, what? And it was like, sometimes it's that simple.
Yeah.
We put all this, these piles of just like, oh my God, it's impossible. I can't do it. It's like, oh, I don't think I'm gonna make it. But it's sometimes easier than we think. We just have to make the first steps. So I interview people every week. I had a recovering drug addict on last week who's an actress, and it was a good friend of mine out in LA, and her story was just amazing. And the fact that she was so candid and honest with who she was as a person. And then that was the thing about her was like, you know what, Ro, it heals me even more when I'm able to tell my story.
Yeah.
And I'll cut it off real quick. Another person I met, she wanted to learn how to play the bass. And she was a big Motley Crue fan, and she wanted to start a all girls. If anybody knows Motley Crue, even though it's blackfilm.com, but Motley Crue, Girls was one of their songs. So she started an all girls band, Girls. She's stenographer, so that's a typist in the courtroom. She was like number 3 in the world. So that's what I do. And so she learned how to play the bass guitar at 30 years old. Started the band. They go on tour all over the world.
Wow.
And she met all of them except for one guy from the original band. So it was like, wait, what? And this is just from an idea. I just wanted to do that. And it blew my mind away that sometimes it's that easy. We think it's so hard, but it's like, you just got to go after your dreams and what you want to do. Sometimes we get in our own way. So I think that's the moral of the story. Get out of your own way. And if you haven't learned that in COVID, then you did a disservice to yourself. Because what other time in history are you going to have 5 to 6 months to yourself? You're going to actually like focus on you and build relationships and really find out what your dreams are and goals are. So that's it.
So if somebody wants to catch the show,
Instagram 8:30 on Monday nights. It's called After Hours with Ro.
Nice.
Yeah, thank you.
So I can relate on so many levels. I'm naturally a curious person. I'm curious about other humans because we all have our own story. We all have something inspirational to share. And so for me, during COVID is when a lot of this creative stuff picked up for me. Prior to COVID, I was still with Black Film, where we were shooting this episode live. Like we would go to a makeshift studio. There were cameras in our faces, and that's how we did it. And then COVID hit. And so we were trying to figure out, how are we going to kind of continue this amazing experience? And so we shifted to Instagram. And so that kind of had a weird vibe. So we ended up moving into Facebook. So while that was happening, I also started writing for Black Film, and then I started corresponding for Black Film. So that took a really huge turn just naturally. And just going back to me as a kid and watching films and watching TV, I've always wanted to talk to the people that I see in movies that I like. I've always been interested in, wow, how did they get there? How did how did they feel about that scene? What was their preparation process for this film? Like, that's just something I've always wanted to know. So I'm a firm believer in whatever you put out into the air, whatever you manifest, if you're passionate about it, it will come to you, right? But you got to do the work, right, to get to that spot.
Yeah, yeah.
Because when Black Film found me, I was doing a podcast. And so we would shoot like little 1-minute video clips that we would post on Instagram. And so they kind of wanted that same sort of energy for their show. So then everything happened how it happened, and here I am. And so it's been such a dope experience because I feel like I'm living a dream I had as a teenager, in my 20s. And I'm passionate about film. I'm passionate about TV. So I get to interview Black actors in dope films and dope TV shows. And we talk about, their experience. We talk about the film. I mean, it's always an enriching conversation. And it's something I just kind of dove right into the deep end. I'd never done it before. So I had to figure out how to structure my questions, not really knowing how is this conversation going to go? Am I going to piss them off? Are they just going to, not want to talk to me ever again? But it ended up being such an organic and awesome experience that now it's something I'm truly, truly very passionate about. And I'm thankful, that Black Film is there as that platform to provide that sort of energy. You're hilarious. And then outside of that, I have my own podcast called Ellen the Great Podcast, which is something I wanted to do for the past year because I just like talking. I like talking to people. And on the podcast, it's people that I know, much like the After Hours show, people that I know that have interesting stories or are passionate about, something or another. And we just get on and we just talk, and it's all audio. I haven't graduated to video yet because there's something, I don't know, there's something less intimidating about having a conversation with someone like you're on the phone versus video, right? And so I find that I get a lot more in-depth information and secrets and just everything if there's no camera involved.
You're right, but for me, what I do, I do a pre-record. So we do a tape the weekend before the actual show.
Okay.
And so that way there's a trust there.
Okay.
Again, you can know somebody your whole life, but it's like when you go and like, oh, really? You gonna ask me that right now?
Yeah.
So knowing where you can go with somebody before that, then on film, other stuff comes out. I'll be honest with you. Because I do the pre-record, like even 30 minutes, like, hey, let's catch up, get to know each other a little bit more. What did you, oh my God, these questions. Okay, can I talk about this? Okay, are you cool if I talk about that? All right, cool. So now you build that trust. So when we're on film, it's like, oh, and sometimes I have people go down the line, I'm like, oh, damn. But it was all because I built that trust early. So I applaud you again. You're getting interviews right off the bat and you're getting them to feel comfortable with you. And that's a skill set that I'm looking forward to learn. But for right now, it's really like get everybody in the friend zone, in the trust tree, and then go from there.
Yeah, it was pretty scary in the beginning. Because again, like I said, I just was kind of thrown into the deep end, like swim, figure it out. But I do really appreciate that because that gave me the space to really fine tune what do I want to know about this person? Like, what information do I think other people will find interesting about this person? And then just kind of engage them beyond surface questions. Like, I'm the type of person that I'll ask somebody like, yo, what keeps you up at night? Like when you're laying in your bed at like 2 a.m. and you can't sleep, like what's going on in your brain? Because I know what's going on in mine and I know I'm not the only one. So I find like when you kind of, get to like the heart of the matter, people open up pretty easily.
Yeah.
So I've learned that along the way, and obviously I'm still learning. I don't know that it's ever going to be perfect, but I enjoy it. I love it.
Well, again, I think it's not about perfect. It's like if they opened up and they told you stuff about them, that's perfect in my mind. Right.
That's what it's about, considering we're there to talk about a film. We're not there to talk about, your personal whatever. Like, we're there to talk about the fact that you just starred in this really dope film, and and now I know about what you did last weekend that nobody else knows.
Have you ever been starstruck? Like, who is your number one? Can I ask a couple questions? One,
yeah.
Who's your number one celebrity, male and female? Have you interviewed either one of them? And who have you been starstruck by?
No, I have not interviewed my my ideal. That would be Gabrielle Union. She's
Okay.
top 3. And then the male, Denzel Washington.
Girl, you better hurry up.
Who, right.
He's one of those Jack Nicholson holes where you don't see them ever again.
I know. The next best thing from Denzel is his son, David.
Okay.
Right. So who have I been starstruck by so far? Well, P-Valley, the hit show on Stars, Mercedes, Brandy Evans. I was such a fan of that show that I was super excited when I got to interview her, and she was awesome, and her story was awesome. That's one person. And who else?
And has anybody disappointed you? Last one. Has anybody disappointed you? Really? Okay.
No, not even. My first interview was a director for the short film movie Circuit, which is really good. It's about sex trafficking. And that was my absolute first interview. And then the second interview was the kid from, Jesus, I'm drawing a blank. What's the Tracy Ellis Ross? Blackish, Junior from Black.
Yeah.
And ever since he was an actor, it's been uphill. Like, just awesome personality,
nice,
just receptible to questions. Just, it was easy. At least in my mind, it was.
Yeah.
I had one actor at the end tell me, like, I love you. And I was like, wait, what? I'm just like, okay, I love you too. So I think with each interview that I do, obviously I'm learning a lot. I walk away feeling stronger, which just gives me more, spirit to keep going. And, who knows where this is going to end up. I'm just going to ride this bus till the wheels fall off.
Let's do it.
Yeah. And so that's about it. Again, Ellen the Great podcast. Right now, I'm on hiatus. I've kind of put that on the back burner for about a month or so to really focus on what I have going on here. But I have some really good things coming up, and as soon as it's back on the scene, I'll let people know so you can listen. And I'd love to have you on the podcast so we can chop it up about some stuff.
Love to have you on mine.
All right, listen, good talk. I was kind of wondering when you were going to talk about After Hours. Why didn't you talk about After Hours prior to this?
I am in no level in any space of any realm of talking about the show that I started like 5 months ago. But I appreciate you even giving me the space to do that. Like I said, I'm still learning myself.
Yeah.
This show, like I said, I just learned something from you like 5 minutes ago about again, because I have the conversation before, the interviews are fine, but now I'm thinking like, wow, that's a great question. Like, how do you sleep at night? What's your go-to candy, in your, if you had to at the movie theaters, what are you buying? Like, I need to add that little element, but again, it's different for you because you have to break the ice, right? So yes. I don't have to break ice, but I think I can add that extra element in there. So I was like, good. Hey guys, listening and learning right here, live.
I love it. So, all right. I think that's all I got. Anything you want to add?
No. I just hope I'm not crying next week, Thursday.
What? Oh, well, we shall see. Thursday's episode will be really interesting.
Oh, I'm gonna have an outfit for that. Either way, I'm having.
Oh dear. And also a quick plug. We're going to be talking about a new show. Well, not new show. It's in the second season, Mandalorian on Disney Plus.
I have a lightsaber. It comes in blue, green, and red.
Is that the song? Is that why you're doing this?
That's my own Star Wars song.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, it worked. In the hood, it was big. It
In the
was.
hood.
Yeah. Don't let the button downs fool you. I was,
I see. Listen,
My-
you're from Jersey. You don't have to tell me anything. I know.
Shaolin, Staten Island, Shaolin. I live in Shaolin.
Oh, but you live in Jersey.
Wu-Tang.
All
Yes,
right.
yes. Anyway.
All right. I'm over it. I'm over this. All right. So listen, have a good evening.
You too. Be safe. Have it. Oh, what is you? Are you dressing up for Halloween?
No. Who does that anymore? No, I'm not dressing up. No.
Okay.
Like dress up to go where?
I don't know.
I guess you are, huh?
Well, I'm not go crazy. It's a small. If I do anything, it's to be small and intimate.
Okay. Well, have
Yeah.
fun doing it. Stay safe. Don't catch
Always.
COVID.
No COVID here.
And vote.
Yes. You too. Be safe. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for watching, everyone. Bye.
Bye.